The rarest things in Terraria. In this video, I'll go over some of the rarest items, achievements, and weapons in Terraria. First, we'll start out with rare achievements, then some viewer suggested items. After the viewer ideas, I'll go over some rare items that are hard to get but don't necessarily have rare drop rates, and finally go over the true rarest items and drop rates in Terraria. And the final one is insane, taking years to get. Starting out, we'll go over the achievements. So, surprisingly, the Supreme Helper achievement is not actually the rarest achievement in the game, which is really surprising because to actually get it, you need 250 fishing quests and complete them. But the rarest one is actually And Good Riddance achievement, which you have to completely purify your entire world from corruptions, with the Supreme Helper minion achievement being attained by 2.9% of people and the Pure World being attained by 2.3% of people. These percentages are on Steam, so console players does not count for this. Some other very surprising ones are the Unusual Survival Strategies is the third rarest achievement, with only 3.7% of people having it, and it being very simple because all you have to do is drink a bottle of water to delay death from drowning. So you heal up by using the water to drink it, which is pretty weird but really easy to get, as you can get it at the beginning of the game. Some other really surprising ones are 14% of people never even cut down a tree, which is insane because that's the first thing you do. You don't even have to craft an axe like Minecraft. 23% of people never make it through a full night. Only 52% of people defeat Eye of Cthulhu, which is very weird as it's a really easy boss, especially on Classic. 0.1% of people defeat Skeletron, not King Slime. 40% of people make it into hard mode, but only 35% of people defeat either Brain of Cthulhu or Eater of Worlds. That means 5% of players get to hard mode without even defeating either of those bosses. One that is actually glitched is 20.9% people defeat every boss, but only 19.9% beat Queen Slime, 14% beat Empress of Light, and only 12 defeat Deerclops. So I guess none of those bosses count as actual bosses. Finally, only 12% people do 10 fishing quests, which I guess does make some sense, though it doesn't take that much time. Next are some viewer suggested ones, as I put out a community post asking for your guys' opinions on what are some of the rarest items. And starting out is the axe, which on paper is not nearly as rare as many of the other items on the list, with only a 2% drop, 5% on Extra Master Mode, but it's a 2% drop from the boss Plantera, which makes it 10 times harder to get since it's a boss and not an enemy. Plus, with it specifically being Plantera, it does not have a craftable summon item, so you have to go either make a farm for them or go around finding Plantera bulbs to defeat 50 Planteras on average to get the axe, when you could also just beat the game at that point and get a solar flare axe. So this is definitely one of the rarest items, though just not quite with the drop rate. Next is the Eucalyptus Sap / the Sugar Glider. The Sugar Glider is a very rare pet found from shaking trees with a 0.0993% chance, but this isn't the worst item to farm for in the list, since you can just make a couple rows of trees and shake them with the copper axe without destroying it. This is definitely one of the rare items in the game to actually farm for, and gets really annoying when just going and chopping down trees. Another strategy is just to make new worlds to farm for it. If you want a really good tree farm design, I have a link in the description for one. Next up, we have Deep Slate Emerald Ore, which I think they got the wrong game. This isn't in Terraria, but in Minecraft, it's definitely one of the rare items in the game. Next are the Terragrim, Dirt Pet Block, and the Slime Staff, which will all be in the video soon, since I already had them on the list before actually making the community post. Next is rare items that aren't really rare with the drop rate. First is the Bone Key, which is a 100% drop rate, but that 100% drop is from the Dungeon Guardian, which has almost 10,000 health, 10,000 defense, and deals 1,000 damage. Doesn't have any other drops, plus Skeletron is usually defeated pre-hard mode, and this is very hard to defeat even if you're cheesing it. and really isn't worth it for the bone key. So here's a really rare item that not many people have, even though the drop rate is 100%. Some other rare ones are some items like the companion cube, because it costs 5 platinum to buy from a traveling merchant and is a pretty rare buy from it. Or stuff like the zenith, since you have to defeat the Moon Lord, then farm for a lot of other swords. On that line, pretty much any post-Moon Lord item can be considered rare, since according to the Steam achievements, only 25% of people defeat Moon Lord. But for the 25%, most of them are probably going to go get the post-Moon Lord armor and a couple weapons. Some other rare ones are things like the Universal Pylon, which you can buy consistently, but it's really hard to get to as you have to have a bunch of happy NPCs. And a couple others are things like the Ankh Shield, Tear Spark Boots, and different items that have really long crafting trees, as they're very hard to get, but they're usually worth it, especially for stuff like the Tear Spark Boots, and you get a lot of mobility out of them. That's really good for boss fights. Next are the final items, the rarest things in Terraria from the drop rights. Not all of these are super low, there are definitely a few others that can be on the list, but most of these are just for reference on how rare the number 1 spot really is. We'll start out with the Terragram, which is a pre-boss sword that you can get in pre-hard mode that's powerful enough to pretty easily take down the Eye of Cthulhu. You can get it from sword shrines with a 2% chance of it being a Terragram instead of an enchanted sword. What makes it even rare is there are only 2 to 4 shrines in a large world that are pretty hard to find, with even less in small worlds, and there's a 10% chance for the sword shrine to be a fake one, which means it doesn't have any swords in it. You'll most likely need to make dozens of worlds to get one of these for what's a pretty mid-early hard mode weapon. Next is the Scourge of the Corruptor, which is a post-planetary melee weapon that you get from biome chest on a corruption world. Actually getting this is not super rare, it's just getting a biome key. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what's rare about this is it shoots out spear projectiles that break into even smaller projectiles when they hit a block, and there's a 1% chance for the first spear projectile to have 15 smaller ones once breaking off. But this isn't too rare since it's a weapon and you can shoot it pretty fast, though it definitely is something cool, and if you get lucky it can really help out in the boss fight. Next up on the list is the Money Trough, which is a portable version of the piggy bank and has a 0.5% drop rate from the majority of enemies during the Blood Moon event, 1% in Master Mode and Expert Mode. If you're trying to farm it with statues though, of Blood Moon enemies, your odds go down all the way to 0.03 and 0.05% depending on if you're in Expert, Master, or Classic Mode. If you fish during a Blood Moon, you have a chance to fish up a Wandering Eye Fish or a Zombie Merman enemy, which, if you kill them, you have a 6.67% drop, a 1 in 15 chance, which is a lot easier, but of course, we can get rarer on the list. With next up, the Biome Keys, which is definitely one of the first items that come to mind when you talk about rare items with a 0.04% drop rate. Though they aren't as rare as it seems on paper, since that chance is from any enemy killed in the specific biomes. The most common key to get is usually the Hollowed Key, since you get it while farming Hollowed Mimics, Souls of Light, Rod of Discord, or the Hollow Key itself. We'll talk about the Rod of Discord a bit later. The Crimson Key is another popular one since you can get the Vampire Knives with it, but you can only use it on a Crimson world. You can actually get keys as soon as you get into hard mode, though you cannot use it until after Planetara to open the chest, so you have a lot of time to farm for it before you can even use it. So these are the rarest item on the list. Next up are a few items from the Pirate Invasion, mainly the Coin Gun, which is a 0.025% chance from normal enemies, which are just the basic pirates, not including the parrots. This does have different drop rates from different enemies though, with a 0.1% from pirate captains and a 2% from the Flying Dutchman mini-boss. Though there are some other rare pirate drops, and all the percentages I'll mention here are from the normal pirate enemies. First we have the Pirate Staff, which is a 0.1% drop rate. Then the Lucky Coin, which is a 0.05% drop rate. The discount card, which is my personal favorite, giving you a discount at all NPC shops with a 0.1% drop rate. The gold ring, which is a little bit more common at 0.2%. And of course, the coin gun is the rarest of them all, as we mentioned a minute ago, at 0.025%. Though a bonus is while fighting pirate invasion, you have the chance to get any of these items, but you're not guaranteed, so you could end up farming for hours and not get any of these items. Next up, of course, the one that comes to everybody's mind when they think of rare items, the Rod of Discord, which is a 0.2% drop rate, which isn't awful compared to some of the items on this list. One big problem is how fidgety the spawn requirements for Chaos Elementals are. Having to spawn on Pearlstone in the biome, the player must have moved or attacked or done certain actions within the last 10 seconds, plus the player cannot be in front of walls. And overall, there isn't much else to say, as almost everybody knows about this item. Next, was also suggested by a viewer, is the Slime Staff, which is a 0.001% drop rate from nearly every type of slime in the game. There's some different drop rates for some rare ones like Pinky, which is actually a 1% drop rate, so if you need to farm for it, I'd recommend doing a slime rain. There is a good chance that you get this, though, throughout your entire playthrough, because the second you start the game until after you defeat Moonlord, slimes will spawn. Another great method for this is you can use slime statues to spawn a lot of slimes and farm it that way. Number 2, which was also another one that was also suggested by the viewers, is the Dirtiest Dirt Pet, which I have a tutorial on, which you can go to the description below to watch it. Though in that video, I had mentioned that this was a 6 in 27,000 chance, as there are 27,000 dirt blocks in a Terraria world. But it turned out I was wrong. Recently, Gungner made a video on farming it, and in fact there are over 1 million dirt blocks in a medium world, which makes the odds to get the Dirtiest Dirt Pet 6 in a million. Actually, it's even worse than that. I'll put the exact percentage on screen. I'm not reading the entire thing out. And finally, the rarest item in Terraria that I can find is a platinum coin. Okay, I know, it's pretty easy to get, but from an extractinator with desert fossils, there is a 0.0066% chance to get 1 platinum coin, with an average drop rate of about 1, and the possibility to get up to 11 from 1 silt, which, after using some AI calculations, is roughly a 1 in 63 billion chance. And I'll put the exact percentage on screen. And using Quality of Terraria's increase in rate for the extractinator, it would take over 30 years to get this on average. So you might as well go just farm platinum on your own, as it'll be much faster. Thanks for watching. The link on the bottom right is a playlist of underrated and overrated Terraria items and weapons. The bottom left is a video where I max out a ton of stats in Terraria, including damage, attack speed, crit, and more. The top left video is what YouTube thinks you want to watch next. Top right's the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more.